Okay, there we go. I think we are live now. Yay!
Yay! We're
All right,
here.
see, we switched it up on y'all. We on Sunday today. We on Sunday today.
Life
But
be living, as we've talked about, and
that's right.
sometimes we still got to
You,
fit in.
yep, you got to be able to pivot and make it happen. So that's what we're doing. So welcome. It is me, Reiki Master Allison, with my love bug Danielle, and we are here today, doing what we do. We're chatting. We're chatting it up, and we're talking about tough topics, light topics, fun topics, just topics. The stuff. This is kind of just to give you all a glimpse as to what it is like between she and I when we get together and we just start talking.
Chaos.
Right.
Chaos. Lots of chaos.
Yes. So, Danielle had something really interesting that we were talking about before we went live. So, Danielle, what was that you were talking about?
All right. So last week we were talking about, protect your peace. And so this is kind of part two of this, because protecting your peace is highly important this year. We already know, without even getting into it, we know the world is on fire, not just the United States. Everything's on fire right now. But the thing that people don't take into account, because we talk about all the time, oh, what's your astrological sign? Like, what about this? What's your human design? But let's talk about the years. And in the Chinese cycle, this is a year of the dragon, and it is a wood dragon. We already know dragons, they're not docile creatures. They're beasts. They are beasts. And wood is the element with anger. And the organ that it involves is the liver. So think about that. When the liver is like, just so this year is especially spicy. It is just shorter tempers. Anything can set anybody off. I'm noticing it. Like in my acupuncture practice, we were all talking about it yesterday because I'm in this beautiful collective, that it's just, hey, we just have to be firm with boundaries, because boundaries are boundaries, but know that you're honoring yourself with that boundary, and that people will be, I hate the word triggered because I think it's overused.
Mhm.
But that people will be set off. And it could just be about, hey, I want to schedule your next appointment. And they're going to be like, why are you trying to? Because it happens. It happens, right? It could be
Yeah.
anything. Or, just you come in feeling a certain type of way. I can say I was at Bata practice the other night, and I was ready to scream at my instructor. I was just like, he's like, you're late, and it was timing. I'm learning a new rhythm. And I'm like, I know. So why do you keep calling me out on it? I freaking know. I know. Like, you think I didn't hear it? I heard it. I was late. But you said I have to learn how to do this, so I'm going to try to do it. Like, oh, just don't. Oh. You see that on, what is it, on TikTok? I've seen the
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That is kind of what's happening, right? Not kind of. That is what everybody's got going on. That is that this year. Like, and we're not talking about just in the U.S. We know it's a hot election year, but as a whole, everybody is on this. The world is feeling this.
Yeah.
And so it is, like, you got to give yourself grace. You got to give people grace. You've got to, like the four agreements, like, don't take it personal. Do not take it personal. But also figure out your boundaries. Usually, like, boundaries are not necessarily for other people, they're for ourselves. What makes
Yes.
us feel safe and okay? And did I advocate for myself? And so we get into this stuff about, well, that person just, don't they know that's a boundary? Well, did you communicate that boundary to them? it's really not about them. It's about us. It's about our own individuals. What's okay with one person may
Yeah.
be totally fine, and they think nothing of it, you know. And then with other people, it is that it's like getting tasered, right? And it just sets somebody off. And how is that other person supposed to know? So
Mm-hmm.
know that one, boundaries, while they are with other people, it's about you and you setting a boundary. You can't expect now when somebody blows past your boundaries and you've said, "Hey, I already told you." That's a different story. Then you
Right.
got every right to be like, just
Yes.
I'm gonna come
You
get you.
just set it off.
Right. Like, but if you don't communicate those things, nobody is mind readers. If they were, I mean, like, while some of us have the ashe to know things, see things, hear things, it doesn't mean you know what somebody's specific thought process is at all times. Otherwise, you know, so you, part of being a good human being is just when you hit a boundary, take a minute. It's okay to take a minute and be like, yo, okay, I need a second, but then come back and say, hey, I didn't realize that was a boundary for me, but I wanted to, you know, can we talk about it?
Right.
And maybe that person will flip out on you. It's hard, especially when we've grown up. I know I've grown up in a household slash family that it was really passive aggressive, where we're just going to stop talking. I'm pissed at you, but we're never going to talk about it. We're not going to clear the air. We're just going to wait until, oh, you done.
Yeah.
Like, you done being mad? You going to let go finally? But we're
Mm-hmm.
never going to say, hey, you really, you hurt me because of this or that. And I think it's really important with protecting your peace
Mm-hmm.
is setting clear boundaries. And if somebody says, well, I don't want that, that's fine. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. There is the door. Should this be as a practitioner that you are setting your boundaries? Like, look, you texted me 30 times a day. I don't care if it's Google Voice, like you got a Google Voice number, a business number, however
Mm-hmm.
it is. If somebody is invading your space 24/7,
Yep.
bye.
Definitely.
$4 do not grant you access to me 24/7. I am allowed to have a life. I
Thank
am
you.
allowed to do what I need to do. Doesn't matter if it's even, and we have to rein it in, right? Like there's times when I know I'm talking to a mentor or my godparent, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to you, I need to talk to you. But you know what? So does 30 other people.
Right.
Like we're children, you know, and we act like children at times, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying like, oh, you're a child, but it's that, oh, hi, 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 mom, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy,
Mommy, mommy, mama,
mom.
mama, mama.
Exactly. Right, because we're like, oh, 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 I need to get this out, right? And it's learning how to create space for that,
Mm-hmm.
but honoring boundaries. We don't need to word vomit. I know I've done it with you, Allison, like where I said, you know, I'm going through it, and you're like, tell me more, and I said, wait, this stuff is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you in the space for that?
Right.
Because nothing is worse. Like, we love our girlfriends, we love our friends. Doesn't matter, guy, girl, pets. We love our people, right? We love our souls that are out there.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't give you the right to vomit all over me. Like, give me a heads up. Like, I want to be there for you, right? I want to
Right.
hold space for you. But if
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a really crappy day and then you come in and you just vomit whatever
Yeah.
emotion, feeling, you may feel better. But I mean, think about it. If you're really throwing up and you throw up in public, you feel 1,000 times better. Everybody else has to be like, ew, like
Yeah.
step
Somebody else
around
got to
here,
clean that
you
up.
know? Exactly. So same
Yeah.
things. Think about that in your interpersonal relationships. Are
Yeah.
you like, you can say, yes, I need a friend. Yes, I need to talk. I am feeling a certain type of way. if I can get time with you, like, and it's okay to feel a certain type of way, right? Right. Life is chaotic right now. So
So
like,
much.
every time
So
somebody
much.
asks me, like, so what's good with you? I'm thinking about you, and I have to pause, and I'm just like, somebody is like, oh, well, you got a lot going on. I always got something going on. I don't do slow, calm. And I'm aware of that. Like, I usually am got six pans going, right? Like, there's always something going. I'm hustling. I'm trying to figure out how to build a business, be at a new job, have be an empty nester. All these different things are happening, maintaining relationships, working on my spirituality, having joy though, right? And that's part of it, with like cultivating joy, so that you do have, because this stuff is heavy right now.
Very.
I don't want to necessarily tell all my friends, like, because I'm going like, choking it down. I'm choking it down, because if I vomit, you're gonna be like, oh, oh, you do got a lot going on. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I do.
But
um
I actually find a lot of people do hold things in. And it's not necessarily because they are wanting to not like vomit on someone. Sometimes it comes from the way they were raised, where they
right.
weren't able to express themselves. So everything is always bottled up and held in. So for me, I think it's finding that balance where, yes, you can talk to your friends, but wouldn't it be nice if you had a professional that you would speak to where they're getting paid for you to vomit? Like, go and talk to a therapist who is there to not only listen to you, but to teach you how to navigate through all of those things. Because, like, it's a lot of us, especially in our generation of, being raised by silent gen and boomer parents, where, expressing yourself was not something that you did. We didn't talk about feelings. And like you said, okay, if I'm mad at you. So we not going to talk about it. We just going to sit up and just be mad and not speak,
Right.
not talk. And, just we'll see how that goes. And we'll see who breaks first in speaking. And when you think about it, it's like that is such a that's such a messed up, toxic way to grow up in a household. That's such a messed up, toxic way to be in a family, where your family, above all, you should be able to express yourself and talk to,
You
you
should,
know,
in
but it's
theory.
not always the case.
Right.
It's not always the case. And that is the part where, when we're going through the things that we're going through day to day in this particular uh, hour of,
Hmm.
this like craziness that's happening in this world, is like, how do we navigate that? Because, you're going through, a lot of people are on their journeys, their spiritual journeys, they're unpacking a lot of stuff. And then here's the world falling apart all around you. So you're trying to unpack, unlearn, detox, learn to put up boundaries, doing all these things. Meanwhile, the world is on fire. So, I think you were on the right track of talking about having to just learn how to cultivate the joy in the midst of that. And it
Yeah.
ain't easy.
It's not easy. It is not easy. I've learned a couple things, and this is a fine line to do too. Like, I've learned to say, all right, if I can't get out of a funk, let me see if I can go be of service to somebody else. But it is still walking a fine line, right? It's
So,
still, because I don't want to ignore my own stuff, but sometimes I need to go, like, how can I be of service and help a friend, so that I can just get out of my own head and do that. But then that is a very, if you're not paying attention, then when are you, it goes back to boundaries then.
Yeah.
Because when you start being of service and you're like, great, I'm going to say, hey, how can I be of service today? Or how can I help? Fill in the blank. You doing okay? You checking in. And then the next thing you know is that you've done it so many times and you've set this expectation that your friends or family members or coworkers, whoever it is, even though I
Hmm.
do think you should keep a clear line of your coworkers, like
Definitely.
their work. They're not they're not your friends. They may be your work friends, but there's a but once you start setting that up, and if you never say no, they're going to blow. They think that the boundary is they have access 24/7, that they can say what they want. So it is when you're cultivating that and trying to be like, okay, I'm feeling like trash today, and but I know I need to get out of the house. Like I've been in that, like I am somebody, my sister and I joke about it. I do not know how to sit still. I don't. And I don't have like an ADHD diagnosis, and I don't like, do I have some neurospiciness? We all do. But in
Yeah.
the end, I am just someone who is always, okay, what about this, what about that, let me work on this and get the next piece going for this. Like I said, I always got like six pans going. There's always something going on. And last week I spent the week, as my sister likes to call it, rotting. I like, I went and worked, but I even said to her, I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. And she said, when was the last time you had this much time to yourself and it wasn't vacation? And my response was, and she said, exactly. And so I'm learning to find that balance. But you know what I did? I'm still enjoying my time and cultivating this joy, but I started reaching out to people and I made plans. I went to the beach with one of my god sisters. We spent the day where I was like, let's go. And we had a nice late day, got to know each other better. And then the next day or that night, I had dinner with another girlfriend and had a great time. And then the next day, another god sister that I was just like, hey, let's go do something. And we've done something different. It doesn't have to be expensive because I know the
Right.
economy sucks right now. We're all like, ew, gross. Can we catch a break, please? Uh, but it was, hey, I have free time on my hands. How can I spend it?
Right.
Versus making myself frustrated because I don't do well. But I still had good time. I wasn't working. I went to the beach. I was out getting sunshine. We were walking around and talking. We were, just all the different things that, like, there's so much to do that doesn't, like, for those of us who cannot stop.
Right.
I know how many times Allison is like, you need rest. Rest. And I'm like, but I got it. Rest. Rest. And I'm like, okay, there's ways to rest without resting.
Yeah.
And there's days we need to practice being veal, as Shonda Rhimes said in her book, like, and you gotta lay on the couch and you gotta watch TV and that's good. But then it's like, okay, I did that for a minute. Now what?
Right.
Now what? Go restore stuff, cultivate that joy, get in nature, go put your feet in grass. Now that the cicadas are gone, for all of us up north, well, yeah, I mean, Midwest gets hit with cicadas pretty bad, and it wasn't as bad in Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois was disgusting. Ours wasn't that bad further north, but still, now that they're gone, I am hitting up nature paths every. I'm like, okay, 5 minute walk. Just take a second. You can feel everything vibrate. You can feel the vibration of the grass or the trees.
That's true. And that's something I've been enjoying. That's been giving me joy is getting outside and walking, being in nature. That just really just it makes me feel so good when I do that. I just have my earbuds, just have my music playing, and I just walk, and I just, feel like the air on my body, the warmth, the smell of the grass, look at the trees, look at the squirrels running around, and hear the
Hmm.
birds chirping, and all that stuff. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful way to just like reconnect with yourself, with nature, and I love that so much. And I'm so glad that you've been getting out and filling that time in.
In a restorative way.
Yes, that is a good thing. And I've gotten to where it's like I want to get out and do more, and I have been, getting and doing more things, but we've got to get ourselves also out of isolation. We talked about that last week. That's another way to be able to cultivate that joy, is being able to once again be able to socialize. That's something that we, pre-COVID, we did pretty well. But then when COVID hit, that's when we, like social distancing, and we took that as a way to really just escape. And so everyone retreats into their homes. Nobody goes out and does stuff. Oh, I don't want to be bothered with people. I don't feel like people in today. Trust me, I understand,
Right.
because peopling is not always easy.
No.
But people with your people, and sometimes even with your people can get on your nerves. But have those moments of being able to socialize and go like meet somebody for coffee, or if you have someone. That's what I want to do, is find someone in my area to start walking with, and go to some of these beautiful trails that Atlanta has to offer and walk. Um, because I don't mind doing it by myself, but woman these days, it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't want to do that. Um, but yeah, having things like that, it still goes back to the same thing that we were talking about: finding your people, finding the people who help you cultivate that joy, who can, you know, give you the kind of conversations that you want to have. Join a book club where y'all all get together at a coffee shop and talk about a book, or talk about books or whatever. I think we've got to retrain ourselves to get back to being able to socialize and be social with one another.
Yeah. Yeah. It's out there. I love, because I did get a book club. I did. And it's so funny the differences that I see because, like talking with patients, it's like, oh, so what are you reading? And I was like, oh, they're like, and they know that I'm in a book club, and they're like, oh, well, we just drink wine in our book club. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, my book club, we actually read the book and then we go, like, we discuss it over a meal. So it's that community. It is, we don't do it at somebody's house. If you want to drink, you can drink. We're out at a restaurant or something, like, great. But it's a chance for us to break bread
Mm,
and socialize, and we all like each, it becomes some, the person who chose the book chooses the restaurant, and so we go everywhere, and it's only like five of us.
yeah,
It's small, but it's so lovely
yeah,
to, like we all found out because like we've been reading some heavy stuff, and then I found Nettie Okorafor, amazing author. For those of you who know, you know. And if you don't know, she was actually part of writing the script uh, for Wakanda Forever. She
mm,
does black sci-fi. She wrote Akata Witch, Akata Warrior. And so we started with that, and it turned into this magical world. And now we just read Blood at the Root, and it is about a black boy. Like and magic. Who doesn't want that stuff? But it's funny that we will all read all these heavy things, but then we've all found out that we really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
Black fantasy. And we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go on the book. Like, we'll do a couple heavy books. Okay, something fun and light. Next. And we'll go but it's finding that joy and then finding like, oh, let's try this for food. Let's try that. And it doesn't have to match what we're reading because if that were the case, we would be traveling all over the world. That's the joke. We're like, all right, whoever wins the lottery, then we we're gonna do book club like on a cruise. Like we're just gonna go. But it's so fun. It's so fun to do something like that because it's engaging for like an hour or two. For us, we're done in 2 hours. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that big of an ask, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to make that person your best friend that right like it's a way to get to know people and see like what are you doing. I'm being social. This is great. Okay, bye. I could go home and not people now. I
Yeah.
people.
You people.
I
That's
people.
right.
And it so yeah, get out there. Books are
Yeah.
great. I mean, I know us Gen Xers read a lot because for us, oh, you're grounded. Okay. I get to go read all day. That's fine.
Right. I got all these books and paper and stuff for me to draw and write. Like,
Right.
okay.
And it is definitely something that I'm like, it's so because luckily we didn't grow up with social media. We didn't grow up with TV all the time. I mean, we were the antenna half the time. So, okay,
Yes.
I
We
was
didn't
in
have
my
social
head,
media. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have,
right?
all of that stuff. And it was such a simpler time. And I have to say, I sometimes long for those days again because the simplicity of it all, where, it's I don't need to know everything and I don't need everything thrown at me 24/7 the way the internet throws stuff at us, the way
Right.
we get on social media and we are scrolling and we're seeing all this stuff and it's like, okay, enough. um and it was just a simpler time. And yes, as a Gen Xer, and I was thinking about this the other day, one of the things that I used to love about summer vacation from school, right? Being out, summer break.
Mm-hmm.
So since my mom, she worked at the post office. My dad, he was a teacher. And he wasn't working. So he would take me and my brother and we go do things. One of his favorite things was going to the library. Going to the library. I loved going to the public library. I loved in my hometown, I loved the library that we had downtown. Hi, Dr. Sue. How are you? That is the Reiki elder that I was telling you about that was in the
Ah,
summit with us. Yes, Dr. Sue
yay.
Cross. Yes. But I used to love going to the downtown library. I can still remember the smell of the books. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
I
Because I
love that
love to
smell.
smell
Oh,
my books. Call me weird, I don't care, but I
no,
love to
no, you are
smell
not.
books.
Those who know, there is nothing
No,
like the smell of books, and
yeah,
even older books. Like I want to smell all the
all
pages
the
in
books.
this. Ah,
So
yes,
I loved it.
cultivating joy.
Yes, it brings me so much joy. That is like a core memory for me of going into the library downtown Chattanooga and going in and smelling the smells of that library, getting the books, and being able to spend my summer reading books. Playing
Right?
outside, yes, but reading books. And, I'm so grateful that, I had a in the household with parents where my mom was a former teacher and my dad was a current teacher, and they encouraged us to read. We had books everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
we had books everywhere. It's like you trip over books, and I love them still to this day. Dr. Sue says, I love the smell of books. I'm a collector of first editions. She's my kind of lady.
Right? Like, oh, yes. Okay, 1830. Well, that 1831 for the smell. Ooh, that's seen a lot of life. A lot of
Yeah,
life.
a lot, a lot of life. So, see, with this conversation, we are cultivating joy.
We are.
We are
I actually,
cultivating joy.
right? I actually was dreaming about being at the library 2 nights ago, and it was such a
Oh,
fun dream. Like, it was the library that I went to as a kid, and running around in there and just like in the children's section, and then having to
yeah,
go over to the adult section. And it was like, I don't want to be here. I mean, when you're little, right, you're like, you don't get
yeah,
it. Now I libraries, gotta love them. You have
love them,
to.
love them.
Like,
Libraries, bookstores, just love
yeah.
it.
I'm like, yeah, that just like filled my cup today for sure. Where I'm like, yep,
Yes,
yep.
yes,
Talking about
absolutely.
libraries.
For
It just,
sure.
mm, I know, because like right now, I think I'm reading. Let's see, one, two, three, four actual books, and I'm reading an ebook.
Mm,
Plus, I got to get my podcasts in.
yeah,
So we live in a world of a lot of overstimulation, and I think it's one of the reasons I love reading. And don't get me wrong, but like we really do. I'm even noticing how much I'm changing. Where if somebody cannot give me a synopsis in a minute and a half or less, I'm glazed over, gone. And I know that is a product
oh gosh,
of the
yes.
clock app. We
Mm,
know this, right? When it
yes,
started that way, it has turned our brains. Because even half the time, if I'm on there, I have to put something at 2 speed. Like I have to go double the speed because otherwise my brain is already on something else, which is not healthy. It's
no,
not. So now I'm like, okay, how much can I step away from it? I get that
yeah,
I'm interested to see what the studies will show in 100 years about what happened to our brains.
yeah,
Yeah, that's real. Okay,
exactly.
so that's starting to not cultivate joy. Back to joy. See, this is what happens, people.
Yeah, for real. But there is a joy for me on the clock app as well as Instagram. I follow a lot of dog accounts. I love the dog accounts because they're just so simple, they're just funny. I love dogs so much, so that gives me so much joy. And then I just kind of scroll past the other BS because it's like, I don't want to hear this for the thousandth time.
Right?
This same thing. Y'all want to comb over this minutia. And it's like,
Right.
it's been done to death. And I think
Yeah.
I'm starting to get to a point where I feel so when it comes to social media now. Like I'm on it because I'm used to being on it, but when I'm on it, it doesn't add any value to me. It doesn't cultivate a lot of joy. So that's why I purposely seek out those accounts where I can look at dogs and people do the voiceovers for their dogs and things like that. There's one that happened on my FYP, and I was so happy because she's a beautiful golden retriever, and she's a service dog named Remy, and the parents do the voiceover and they do it's the Remy Diaries, and I love it. It's so cute, and I just love it. I'm like, I know it's the owners doing the voices, but you'll never
But
convince me that it's
still,
not her voice.
no. We know what our dogs sound like. We
Right.
know. We do. Because let me tell you, when I talk about my dog, I love my dog. She is my baby. She is 9 years old. She is a Jack Russell Terrier Beagle mix. Let me tell you, for those, like, that is highly neurotic with a good side of OCD. But she is, the way she be talking to people, telling about themselves, I'm like, she is that lady. She's the older lady in the neighborhood who is outside in her curlers and house dress at 7 a.m. with a stale PBR and a mentholated cigarette, and she's, get off my lawn. But we all know it. And I'm like, that is my dog. I love her to pieces. Love her to pieces. But she will tell somebody about that. So I am here for all those, like, where it's like, yes, I want to hear. What is the other dog? Chilaquile. He's like, he goes around, his parents do their voiceover. Like yes, because I'm all about dog counts. I'm all about, yeah, and I will, and it's funny, I want the joy because I will
Yeah.
flip past the second that it's a sad. I'm like, no, if
Mm-mm.
I'm looking for joy, I want to see dogs scaring themselves. Or there's this one dog who loves her butterfly wings, and she has animated, like, found
Oh.
a pair of wings that are actually operable, and so she puts them on and runs and looks in the mirror, and it's a golden retriever, and she's got her little wings going, and it's like, see,
So cute.
I will take that.
All the joy. All the joy.
All the joy.
Yep.
All the joy.
And I'm
So,
still trying to find the black boy joy of frolicking.
oh,
I need more of that.
back. I mean, I brought it back in person. Not I brought
Yeah.
it back. I was out in nature, and I said to these beautiful black men, "Are you gonna frolic for me? Please, please frolic." We were just talking about this. Like, I'm like, I need to see some black boy joy, and they frolicked for a little bit, and I was like, thank you. You filled my cup because there is nothing. Um, there's really nothing like it,
Yeah.
and to see, because we don't see black men. We're gonna go a little darker for a second, but we don't,
Yeah.
right? Because I think it's really important to remember, like,
Yeah.
what's the joy that we're seeing? Any kind of black joy. I want to see black excellence. I want to see black joy. I
Yes.
want, like, shit's heavy out there.
It is.
And so if I can get even a 30-second boost of serotonin and dopamine because I see a black man having a good time running and frolicking and he's not being chased or anything, like, and that's the biggest thing. I hear people say, because I've had people when I said, oh, like, you didn't see that trend. Well, no, because you are not of that melanated skin tone. And then I'm like, it's just beautiful to watch. It's beautiful. And then it's like,
It
well, no
is.
one does that. No, 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 you don't understand. I don't give a crap. I will stand on this. I don't care if white men frolic. They can do whatever they want. They go golfing.
Right.
They
Yeah.
go golfing. They fill in the blank. But to see a black man enjoy nature, running, skipping, cartwheels, that can fill my cup for like a week. 30
Yeah.
seconds can fill my cup for a
Mhm.
week. Just be like,
Yeah.
I just want to see you enjoy life.
Yeah. That's it. I want to see it.
I want to
I
see
want
it.
to see it.
We both want to see it. We want to see it all the time. I want to see it all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I want to
Hmm.
get to a point where every day I get to see Black Boy Joy at some point. At, like, every day. And not because I went and sought it out, but
Hmm.
because it is part of what we see every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Do I think did we just like figure a place to end it today as we've
I think we
started
did.
talking, like, I know, right? I'm like, ending on Black Boy Joy.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a beautiful, beautiful place to end it. Is the
Let
black
those
boy
black
joy?
men get their flowers.
Yes.
Come on.
All
Please go frolic. hear us,
Please,
please go
please,
frolic. Send
please.
us your videos of frolicking in nature, kicking back, relaxing.
Mhm. We want to see.
We want to see
Mhm.
it. We want to celebrate that.
We do. We do. Well, that is a beautiful stopping place. So thank you all for joining us today. As you can see, our conversation can go in any direction, but we
Any
always try to end it with something positive and beautiful. And there's nothing more beautiful than thinking of Black men frolicking and enjoying life, um, because we don't really get to see it that often.
no, we
Thank
really
you
don't.
all so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you all next time. And that's all I got. You got anything else, Danielle?
Oh, thanks for joining us. We'll
Bye,
see you
y'all.
soon. Bye.